Most people optimize their productivity just to get more done. But the individuals that choose to take a deeper look, they do something very different. See, when your work has real meaning, it stops being about crossing tasks off a list. And it becomes about making the thing that you're making the best that it can possibly be. Productivity shifts from how do I make this fast to how do I make this incredible. And that's the shift that matters. My philosophy is that the work we do is sacred. Whatever it is, we should be striving to create masterpieces. That's how you tap into the highest levels of creativity. And honestly, I think creativity itself is an act of connection with the divine. Now, whether you're willing to go that far or not, one thing is very clear. Legendary creators approach productivity in ways completely different than hustle culture. And the more that we're able to learn from those legendary creators, the better that our work can become. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you 3 radically different approaches to work used by icons in completely different fields. And I'll explain why the grind culture is missing the one thing that actually matters. If you pick up on this shift, you'll outsmart productivity and create something truly great. And I want to start with a story here. Something interesting I heard about Michael Jackson, obviously one of the most prolific musicians of all time, honestly. He used to say that he would record at all hours of the day. He'd go into the studio in the middle of the night, in the early mornings, whenever inspiration struck. Because to him, productivity was about capturing the lightning of inspiration. He felt that it was something divine, that God was giving him these ideas. And one of the things he used to say was that the reason that he would go to the studio right away is because he didn't want those ideas to be given to Prince. And so the reason that I think this is so important for the current world and our approach to productivity is that we don't see the idea as something sacred and divine. I think the best creators saw the things in their head as something more than the material thing that they represented. When you tie that deep level of meaning to the work that you're doing, to the ideas that you're generating, you think that it's a spiritual and religious act. You just care so much more about the work that you're doing. And this moves me on to the second point, which is that the best creators, the legendary artists, entrepreneurs, whatever field that you're looking at, the best of the best, had a relentless level of focus. Steve Jobs used to be famous for saying no to literally everything. I mean, if you think about Apple, it literally represents minimalist technology. Apple's products do very few things, but they do them so well and so good that it's what makes them who they are. So for the best creators, productivity isn't just about doing more, but it's about doing the thing that you're doing so good and being so focused on it that it becomes incredible. And again, I think when you look at the world around us, that's another lost art. We want to do a million things. We want to be a crypto trader and a drop shipper, but who are the people that are really succeeding? They're the people that are choosing one thing and relentlessly focusing on not just doing the work, but creating something incredible, doing it really well. Again, this is what Apple has always represented, and you could point at any great artist. They did very few things, but did them extremely well. That is the ideal of an artist that I strive to be. And so the third kind of strategy or approach that I want to talk about, it's kind of the opposite of the first. But when you think about prolific artists, Beethoven, Kobe Bryant, right? He was an artist in the basketball game. But when you think about prolific artists, one of the things that they always say across spectrums is that they ritualized their creativity. Kobe going to the gym every day at 4 a.m. Beethoven used to go on the same walk at the same exact time every day. Seinfeld was famous for saying, I don't know when inspiration will strike, but fortunately every day I sit down at 7 a.m. and write for 2 hours for jokes. Or maybe I was wrong there. I think Seinfeld just wrote jokes every day. But it's very famous for writers to just sit down and write every day because they're ritualizing the act of productivity and creativity. They're setting it in their mind that every day at a certain time is when they're going to do the important work that they're giving their soul to, right? So the reason that I say this is kind of different from that first point of taking the inspiration as sacred is that you want to treat inspiration and the idea that you're working on as something divine, but at the same time, you want to bring it into the world as something practical that you can do every day. You don't need to wait for some divine inspiration to strike to go make the thing that you've been called to make. The thing is that you don't wait for creativity. You don't wait for those conditions for the perfect inspiration to strike. You just create a world around you that makes it so that you show up every single day and do the consistent things that lead you to those creative breakthroughs. And again, I think all of these approaches are slightly different, but they all have one thing in common, right? The productivity isn't just about cranking out more tasks. It was about producing a great work, protecting the sacredness of the act of creation, right? Outsmarting productivity means you realize that speed and volume don't matter. It's the masterpiece, the act of creation, the thing that you're working on. That is the thing that matters the most. Making it the Mona Lisa, the Sistine Chapel, making it your magnum opus, choosing to do the thing that you're doing and creating something great with it. And so this is why I always say that productivity at its highest level is creativity. You shift from, I just want to get more done, to I want to make this thing the best that it can possibly be. Which again, I believe this is something sacred. It's a divine thing, right? Creativity is about connecting with the power that sustains the universe, and that manifests in our lives as creating a masterpiece. And I really believe that this is best shown in those legendary creators across fields, art, music, business. Pick a person, they represented that ideal. So listen, if you're interested in the creative philosophy that I discussed briefly in this video, I'm going to leave a link in the description to my private community. It's a place for high-level entrepreneurs, artists, any creator, anyone really seeking to create better work. We discuss deep questions, share ideas on creativity, and just inspire each other to create our best work. I really believe that the best way to change your view of the world is to see other people's perspectives. So getting around other high-level creatives and building your network, it's just amazing. That's going to be the first link in the description if you're interested. But yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my ideas on why productivity at its highest level is really creativity. And if you can implement these things that I talk about in this video, I promise the work that you're doing will be better.